The Bible says in the book of John 4:24, God is a spirit. Now, the Greek word for the word spirit is pneuma. Is etymologically related to breathe. By an extension, it means a moving air. Therefore, if we say that God is a spirit, it will suffice us to say that God is not tangible. But you see, the only way mortals can cognitively understand the person called Elohim, he tries to reveal himself through tangible entities. But God is immaterial. However, the only way mortals can articulate his essence is through tangible realities. So it says in the book of 1 John 1:5 that God is light. Is God really light? Because God is actually beyond light. So if he doesn't call him light, there is no way you will know him. So he uses things that you are familiar with to define the person of God. The things that you are familiar with. So he uses them to define God. Remember, the Bible says in Romans 11:33 that his ways are past finding out. Before light was, he existed. How can you define him? By what he pre-exists. How can you say he's light? Before light came, God was. So you define him by what he pre-exists means you don't know who he is. So he existed before light. So light is insufficient to define his essence. So the only way man can understand him, he uses the characteristics of light to explain or describe a deity that cannot be approached. So the Bible says in 1 Timothy 6:16, who alone hath immortality, dwelling in unapproachable light. So he dwells in a place that no man can approach. So the other way that he's defined is in Hebrews 12:29. The Bible says our God is a consuming fire. So one of the ways that Elohim was defined in the other world, not this world, because there was a civilization before the civilization. The civilization that existed before the civilization was a civilization of spirits. So there were no beings of corporal elements. So the realms and worlds were dominated by spirits. So the first earth, before it was destroyed, the governor of that realm was Lucifer, the son of the morning. So the way spirits live was to express themselves through different dimensions of God. So there were angels that were made of light. So those angels, the way they witness to God is not by talking, but by manifesting him. So when you see the God of light, he reveals an angelic quadrant. There were other angelic quadrants that reveal God as fire. There were other angelic quadrants that reveal God as sound. So when those angels shows up, you hear volumes of sound. There is a constant vibration in the bellies of Elohim. So you can't tell where those sounds are coming from. Those are angels that give testimony to the God of sound. There are angels that give testimony to the God of light. There are angels that give testimony to the God of fire. So there was a prince in Zion that doped. He was the angel of fire and the angel of light. Because of his ranking in Zion, he decided to violate the government of God. And when God was going to judge him, you see, God will not judge men the way he judged spirit. Why? Because they are made of various elements and they live in different dimensions. Because Lucifer was the angel of fire. The Bible says he moved to and fro in the midst of the coals of fire. So when God was going to judge Lucifer, He was the creation of fire. And God had a superior authority over those elements. Ezekiel 28 verse 18. The Bible says, thou hast defied thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thy iniquities, by the iniquities of thy traffic. Therefore will I take a fire from thy midst, and it shall devour thee, and it shall bring you down to ashes upon the earth, in the sight of every man that beholds you.